Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. Welcome everyone to the Week in Italian Startup, where Nicola and I will go through the weekly news happening in Italy in startup land. So let's get started by seeing the first deals of the week. Hi Nick, by the way.
Sure, Jack. Thank you very much.
All right, so we have a good mix actually. It's not big rounds, I would say, like a sort of like an angel to seed rounds, like a really early, starting from Sportclubby, mobile app to book sport avenues, raising 1.5 million from syndicate. So that's an interesting news, and what I found particularly interesting was that the syndicate is led by YLab. YLab has a very interesting sports accelerator program, which is hosting a lot of very well-known sports startups in Italy, I would say. So this is Sportclubby, and this is okay. Let's see. Yeah, including like some of the portfolio that we might have. I think we went through like Goli. We saw it like months ago. So it's interesting because it's one good example of an accelerator based around Genova, which is basically trying to verticalize on one sector. Very interesting.
Yeah, consider that YLab is coming out of Y-Scout. That was a scale-up company. So there is an ecosystem around this accelerator. And Sportclubby actually raised so far 4.5 million euros. So not a big company in terms of funds raised, at least in Italy. For a solution that's basically a marketplace for booking avenues and go sporting around. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a trend. I think we've seen like companies like that where they're trying to sort of make something social. In this case, is sports, and leveraging the clubs that are already like there, basically all across Italy, but never interconnected between them, and basically trying to also gamify all the platforms. So with the reward system and a way to actually meet new people. So I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, I believe that in this case, as in many other verticals, there is a pre-pandemic and a post-pandemic world. When the pre-pandemic one, probably there was not a great demand for this type of solutions. To book your favorite soccer field or football field or tennis court. But post-pandemic, people have probably learned that it's easier to look for the venues online. It's easy to book for them on the app and so on and so forth. So there is a discontinuity here, and probably this is reflected in this round in the metrics that probably they have shown so far to the investors.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some push from the markets, kind of getting out, doing sports, and on the same line of the traveling platform that they're trying to aggregate people to travel, that we've seen like a few weeks back. And I would agree completely with you. There is a post-pandemic world which is kind of influencing whatever has been built before. So that's particularly interesting.
Yeah, if I read from the PR, the platform has seen 14 million bookings. So
wow, not bad at all.
Quite a big numbers.
Yeah,
quite a big number. Nice.
All right, moving on. Ecozema, sustainable dishware startup, raising 1.5 million euro from AImpact. So we've seen AImpact like many times. They have been very interesting players in the Italian ecosystem when it comes to impact investing. They built a very interesting portfolio of companies, and this is their last investment. So it's a compostable dishware that has been placed in it's basically endless application from company canteens to any form of like restaurants, like quick bite restaurant and so on and so forth. So that's very interesting play. Not so digital, but kind of like highly impactful in terms of circular economy and sustainable products for sure.
Yeah, totally agree with you. It is a perfect investment for an impact fund. So nothing to add here. So
yeah. I mean, I feel that some compostable product they need to be part of an impact venture capital firm in some way or another. It's kind of I've seen like other impact funds like playing on this field. It's a big trend. It's something that definitely is gonna help transition the world in a plastic-free environment. So let's see.
Well, in a world where takeaway or food delivery is basically growing like crazy, compostable dishware is the perfect solution to having plastic everywhere.
Yeah.
So there is a natural traction here, I believe. So this is probably also a very good timing to invest in a company such as this one.
I'm not sure about the unique positioning of a company doing compostable dishware, because it seems that people already doing paper product can really switch production instantly and do these kind of things. So I don't understand if it's more of a sort of a patent kind of shape or compostable solutions that will work, or it's more of a marketing play where actually these guys are the best and they're more like the one that have the biggest market penetration, and those are going to be the winners. I don't know. It's tough to say.
These are excellent questions. I have no idea at all about the market. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of players that are offering compostable dishware. I have no idea about their strategic advantage. Other than this is probably such a huge market that position yourself well, investing well in growth.
Yeah.
You might create a good player without having
it feels
barriers
more
of entry.
Yeah, exactly. But it feels like it's more than a digital play. It's more of a staple play. So the compostable elements will be like a staple in everyone's kitchen. So that's probably gonna be a turning point for the new normal. So that's definitely something interesting, and I can see that happening. Awesome. All right, moving on. Let's talk about consumer intelligence. KPI6 raising about 2 million euros. And basically what they're doing, to my understanding, is they're working on providing consumer insight from a bunch of data points and essentially visualizing insights from those data.
Yeah, I would say that's the perfect understanding of what they do. This is a startup that has been around a few years. They were accelerated by Selvedge Venture. There is no official announcement about the round, but I'm connected to the CEO on LinkedIn, and I saw a post announcing a 2 million round, so I couldn't resist and talk about it.
Awesome.
I mean, it's out there, so it's official. 2 million euros, and half of it through an SFP. So quasi equity instrument, not exactly equity.
Okay. That's it tends to be pretty rare actually, this kind of format. I would say it's not the norm, or it's
Well, the SFP it's an acronym it's an Italian acronym for basically participating financial instruments, literally. It's kind of a new tool, so it hasn't been adopted so much, but its use is improving. As investors in particular find it useful because it's a good way to set up safe-like investments.
So that's equivalent. It's kind of used as an equivalent as a safe, because but I've seen people actually calling safe note here in Italy, but I don't know if they meant a different kind of instrument or actually like a safe note, like American style safe note.
They are not the same as a safe note. They're more complex because you have to go to a notary for an SFP. With the safe you have, with the safe you haven't. But in terms of way it works for the Italian legislation or Italian corporate legislation, an SFP allows you to correctly set up a safe-like instrument. So it's not a debt tool. It's really quasi equity, almost equity. A simple note is a debt tool. A convertible note is a debt tool that happens to be convertible into equity. The safe is not. The safe can only be eventually converted. So they are different. There are differences.
How popular is SFPs with the early stage investors?
With
the early stage investors, how popular are those kind of instruments?
It's increasing. Again,
it's increasing.
I've seen a few of them in the last few months.
Oh wow.
We use them at least in a couple of times.
Interesting.
It allows you to subscribe for an investment where you are sure that you will purchase equity, but you don't know how much, because, for example, valuation depends on conditions. And it's a perfect tool for that.
Yeah. Interesting. No, I mean, more and more tools are coming out of Italy, including like SIS, which people have been talking a lot about. I've been kind of digging into the structure of a SIS. The regulatory requirements are very still tight, so it still look a little bit, clunky in a way. I know of a very few amount of people using SIS. I hope they're gonna kind of unlock it more, but at the end of the day, it's a vigilated, I don't know if you say that, instrument. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I agree. There is a lot of experimentation, even though it doesn't look like that. I have to say that there have been a lot of experiments to allow for better investments into startups, to better managing capital to invest into startups. We are far away from perfect. I can't say that we've been standing still in that respect.
I see. Right. Let's see. Moving on to, I would go straight actually to what has been happening with the new. Well, let's go back to a little bit like the different Q1 reports. So more and more like reports are coming out, which I thought it was particularly interesting. I would say that the one from the Italian Tech Alliance is particularly interesting as well. So let's maybe have a look at that. That's pretty interesting, especially the numbers that actually are. Let's see. Yeah, I was checking the total invested per quarter, and it was an interesting sort of side-to-side comparison starting 2017, just to give like a total overview. I thought it was very cool, and it really shows how Q1 2022 is moving like extremely fast compared to any other year like previously that previously happened. So that's a very, very good news.
Yeah, well, I agree. There are Scala Pay and Money Farm that, of course, skew the numbers a lot. But
yeah,
the question is whether we will be able to keep up pace with bigger rounds going forward in the following quarters.
Yeah,
I would say the second quarter for now is going well, but with no great rounds in sight. So we'll see whether any of them happens. But so there are a lot of people that are currently projecting a couple of billion of invested capital in Italy by end of year.
Oh wow, interesting.
We need a few more Scala Pays for that.
A little few more unicorns, and that we'll be fine.
Yeah, otherwise you will not be able to match those numbers.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I mean, so jumping actually ahead of your newsletter, let's talk about the declaration of Alberto Dalmasso, which was particularly interesting. So Dalmasso is the CEO of Satispay, and basically declaring how Italy is easy at the beginning. The true problem is as the company scales up, then you encounter some radical problems that can actually like slow down the growth of the company. And in particular, he's really precise in this article, and I totally recommend and totally loved it because he's like two straight to the point. One is diretto di accesso, and the other one is kind of the diretto di opzione. So it was straight to the point, right to where the problem is. So in Italy, we have a thing for which whenever there are changes in the company documents that need to be approved unanimously, and if there is someone that do not agree, then they can be liquidated essentially, and they have the right to be liquidated.
Yeah, at the price of the Rhine.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that's a big like break, and it's it's fair up to a certain point to minority investors. The problem is that there can be like something that blocks the growth of the company like massively. So great article, very interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have to say, this is something that we are used to now. So we work for it, we work with it. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, we try to keep the cap tables as simple as possible in order also to avoid this type of issues. I mean, the more investors, angels, operators you bring on board, and the less prepared to this type of route, of growth route they are, the more dangerous it is for them to have them on board with these rights for them. So you try to keep the things simple as much as possible to avoid this problem.
Yeah,
but I totally agree with it. And I have to say, there is also the other the optional right, the other point that he makes that's interesting. The fact that it's not that automatic to be able to say that you can allow the incoming investors to subscribe the entirety of the round. Mm-hmm. That's another interesting point, because existing investors have the right to invest if they want. Mm-hmm. So there are some interesting issues. I'm not aware of any occasion where these things came up, so actually happened. I'm not aware of any instance, but they could.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
My feel, so I was part of a conference where Alberto was talking about the recent round when Tiger Global sort of came in the first time, and they interviewed him about what was the experience, and besides surreal, he was explaining how this that's basically like he was feeling how they're playing on a total different level with total different mindset. So I thought I kind of feel this article is the consequence of his experience playing with such big names, and that's really insightful. That's absolutely insightful.
That makes sense. The third point is actually that he makes is actually the one that I found the most interesting. The fact that you cannot assign more than 3 votes per share in Italian SPA's company, Fondazione. That's a very interesting one. I have to say I rarely think about it because we don't have many SPAs in our portfolio. They are usually companies that are much bigger in terms of size. But it makes an interesting point, because eventually the founders will be a minority of the cap table, at least in terms of number of shares. Mm-hmm. But there are ways to balance the power, the ability to express votes in the shareholders assembly for the founders. by assigning more votes to a single share.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's less linear, I would say, than the classic sort of super share like voting rights that are common in US situations. So yeah, Italy has a way to do it. It's kind of indirect maybe, but yeah, it's interesting. He's bringing it up, like saying, hey, you know, it simplifies, but if that is a lock point, then that can be an issue. Very interesting. I agree. Completely. I also was thinking about that. That's awesome. All right, let's quickly talk about Turin. What's happening in Turin? Everything in Turin is happening. So
it seems that this is the accelerator city of Italy.
I know.
We already have 2 or 3 accelerators going on. And
yeah,
now
plus Techstars. Techstars is here, and yeah, Cdp is launching this aerospace and advanced hardware accelerator called TakeOff, which by the way is number 12. I keep in, you know, I like to keep count of the accelerator number of Cdp and see where it's gonna lead. So number 12, there you go. But amazing partners, and definitely Leonardo. He's a huge corporation in the aerospace sector, very sensitive to innovation. The program, I think, is yeah, it's led and co-invested by Plug and Play, which doesn't need an introduction. So it's a very well sustained accelerator. My feel is that they're probably going to do an awesome job doing so.
And unlike the others, the other 11, this is very well funded because they have 21 million to invest in the program. Usually it's a bit less.
Yeah. Very cool.
An investment up to half a million, I believe. So scroll down. Event. Expo Day. The best startups will be prized with half a million.
That's crazy. Awesome.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, totally.
And then we also have NATO.
My God, that's super interesting. So this is, yeah, for people that they don't know, so NATO just launched this idea of investing, 1 billion euro, I believe. I think, 1 billion euro in early stage companies working on defense tech, essentially. And there's going to be a lot of centers around Europe. One in Italy is going to be Turin. If you see in the map, it's called the Diana project. Then you have like different location. I think the European headquarters is going to be London. But a lot of other a lot of other cities will sort of lead the way, and and what I thought was particularly interesting. So Nick, that was awesome. You brought it to the people. Is the first sort of multinational sort of sovereign initiative in venture. So usually we have a situation, and we talked about sovereign funds being them in Asia or in other parts of Europe. This is like a cross-national effort. So I thought it was particularly interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool, and it's in some ways a way to replicate the DARPA from the US.
Yes, I was yeah. Good point.
And I find extremely interesting all those blue dots aggregated in Eastern Europe, the test centers.
Okay, now is your conspiratory theories coming out?
It's just that's interesting. Why are there all those dots aggregated in those locations? Test centers for advanced defense products.
Yeah. All right, awesome.
Turin will be one of the headquarters for the acceleration programs.
All right, to end on a fun note, let's talk about DALL-E 2. How did you came across this one? That's so interesting.
Oh, you were not aware of DALL-E 2?
No, I was not aware. So for the listener, DALL-E is an AI system developed by OpenAI. OpenAI, again, doesn't need any introduction. A huge company in AI, founded by Elon Musk and Sam Altman, among the many awesome founders working on general AI. And DALL-E 2 essentially connects text with pictures. So you type in whatever you want to see, and the AI will give you a picture of that.
Yeah, this is going to be disruptive. The funny thing around DALL-E 2 is that a lot of people. So I mean, there was a fun conversation around the idea that a lot of people used to say that automation and robotics would first of all make all the blue collar works go away, and then the white collar works go away, and then the creative works go away. And then from DALL-E 2 onwards, the problem is basically inverted completely. First, AI will make all the creative jobs go away. Then the white collar, then the blue collars. So,
that is awesome. That's a good point.
If you think about it,
totally.
If this works, and it seems to work extremely well, all the preparatory setting up of any creative project is basically two clicks away. I would like to see a dog with a hat running in the park. Yeah, and there you have a number of ready-to-use sketches for your creativity. Yeah.
That's an awesome application of AI. But on the same note, I don't know, art just need to evolve. If that's the case, then it kind of challenges the meaning of art. Then at this point, on certain levels, I would say.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what I would say. I mean, they use art because DALL-E is able to copy and mimic art in the past and use it. But you're right, art is a different thing probably. But I'm absolutely no expert about it. So,
right, Nick. Perfect. Thank you so much. It was great chat. And for the listener, thank you so much for joining. And we're live on Clubhouse. We're available on YouTube and Spotify. And see you next week.
Ciao, Jack. Ciao, everybody.